Welcome to the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, Arizona, where tonight the Diamondbacks play host to the St. Louis Cardinals. It's game one of a four-game set. Albert Pujols and the Cardinals, disappointing way to end the series in Washington. A heartbreaker yesterday as they dropped 2 of 3. Speaking of struggling, the Diamondbacks, well, they've dropped 13 of 16. Al Brabowski, Dan McLaughlin with you. Welcome to Arizona. It's game one of a four-game set here on FSN, and tomorrow night's game will be on FSN as well. Al, how does this team regroup? I mean, it's a 6-game lead in the Central Division, so it's not a real hurtful loss, but still it was a tough loss yesterday.
It was a tough loss, and I think even the Arizona club were no hit, and I think that was easier for them to adjust to that than the blown save by Izzy, his 10th of the year. 9th inning was very troublesome. But Izzy's part of the story today, too. We'll talk about him in our second segment. But first, let's talk about Cardinals' success in our four-key matchup at this ballpark. Surprising, they are 18-11, a .621 winning percentage, even better than the home Diamondbacks. Well, they played very well here, and they played very well against Arizona in St. Louis. But Jeff Weaver is how you bounce back from that tough loss yesterday. You need a well-pitched game from the starter. He's pitching much better than his numbers will indicate, and Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa are very happy with Jeff Weaver. Miguel Batista will get the start for the Diamondbacks. He was in the bullpen last year of the Toronto Blue Jays as their closer, a starter this season with the Diamondbacks. Everybody's talking about it. Jason Isringhausen will talk about it when we come back to Arizona. Welcome back to the Valley of the Sun, beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, where tonight's telecast from FSN Midwest is available in high definition on channel 792 on Charter Communications in the St. Louis area. Dan and Al back with you from Chase Field in Arizona, and yesterday another disappointing outing for Jason Isringhausen, his 10th blown save. He's 33 for 43 in save opportunities, and Tony La Russa was saying before the game, Isringhausen has been shut down for the weekend, a recurrence of the hip problem that he had a couple of seasons ago, and that would give you a little indication as to why he was having problems, I think, Al. Well, his mechanics were messed up. He said he just couldn't command the fastball, and you know, if that's the case, see, a couple years ago he had a surgical procedure on his hip. He has a degenerative hip, and they may have to do something again. Hopefully we can get him through the regular season and the postseason before something has to happen. Who closes tonight? Tony was saying it could be Adam Wainwright, could be Braden Looper, combination of left-handers, combination of the entire bullpen. We'll find out this weekend. A look at the Diamondbacks coming up. Diamondbacks by the numbers. Al, they got off to a great start earlier this season. Then the saga of Jason Grimsley hit this club and hit baseball. And since then, they've been about 500 at best. And the real transition, as a lot of the veteran players will not be here next year. They're going to go with the rookies and a very low payroll. Diamondbacks Cardinals from the Valley of the Sun coming up next on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Net Midwest. Chase Field in Arizona, where the Cardinals open up a four-game set against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Cardinals are 10 games above the 500 mark at 74 and 64. And Arizona is under 500 at 65 and 74. The Cardinals have had very good success this season against the West. They are 19 and 6, and you compare that to what they've done against the Central, just a game above 500, and the Cardinals have dominated out here. Cardinals bench tonight: Vizcaino, Roland, Bennett, Mike Rose, John Rodriguez, Skip Schumacher, John Nelson, and Sho Taguchi. Scott Rolen said he was good enough to play tonight, but the Cardinals being very cautious with Roland and that sore shoulder. And with the cushion of a 6-game lead, Al, why not let him rest? Well, that's it. You know, he hasn't had a lot of success against Batista, who last year was Toronto's closer, and he had 31 saves, but a good 10-5 record here for the Diamondbacks. First man he faces is Aaron Miles. We're underway, and it's a strike at the knees. Miles, a shortstop tonight, hitting .270, couple of home runs, 27 RBIs. David Eckstein went on the disabled list on August 19th as Miles shoots it down the left field line, and Gonzalez just a bit short in his effort there. Foul territory, strike two. And Tony La Russa has used 5 different players to fill the role of leadoff batter. Aaron Miles, this is the 10th time he has done it. Preston Wilson 5.
Ronnie Belliard was even up there for a game along with Jose Vizcaino and So Taguchi.
Miles has had the most time in that position and at shortstop too. This will be his 21st game of playing short, and he is starting 17 of the last 18 games at that position. 1 for 2 against Batista in the past.
Here comes an 0-2 pitch to Miles. Start of a 4-game set. The Cardinals will face a possible Cy Young Award winner this season, and Brandon Webb on Saturday. He's 14-6. Tomorrow night, Livan Hernandez against Anthony Reyes, and that game will be right here on FSN. The 1-2 pitch. Miles stays away, and it's 2-2.
Batista will kind of throw the kitchen sink at you. To the left-handed batters, he'll throw more of his splits.
I remember Miguel Batista in a Sunday afternoon wearing this Diamondbacks uniform. He had a brawl with Tina Martinez, the old Busch Stadium. Runs the count full here on Miles. A 3-2 pitch. I'm sure the Diamondbacks familiar with Aaron Miles. His days with Colorado. Also very familiar with tonight's starter, and that's Jeff Weaver of St. Louis. This time in Los Angeles. Batista 10-5. ERA of 4.34. And Miles shoots it out to right center field. On the move, Chris Young. He's not going to get it. That one rolls to the wall. Miles, is he thinking 3? Why not? Relay won't be in time. Aaron Miles with a leadoff triple.
That's how you erase a tough loss yesterday in Washington with a leadoff triple. And Aaron Miles, they had defensively, they had the center fielder playing him over into left center. So this one in right center, a long run for Chris Young, the rookie out there, and Miles makes the decision to go to third, and it was a good one.
Brings in Duncan, who is 0 for 10 on this road trip and 0 for his last 11 overall. And Duncan breaks it back, but puts the Cardinals on top with an RBI ground out to second base, put away by Gold Glover Orlando Hudson. And it's 1-0 Cardinals. Take a look at the Cardinals lineup. Miles, Duncan, and Pujols here in the first. A couple of solo home runs for Albert in Washington. Then Encarnacion, Spezio, and Wilson, Belliard, Molina, and Weaver. So Duncan picks up the RBI, his 32nd, and it brings in Pujols.
Albert, 5-game hitting streak, 444 during that time, 5 home runs.
Here comes an 0-1 pitch to Pujols. He grounds it left side. That'll be handled by Chad Tracy. The Diamondbacks defensively have committed 82 errors this year. And let's go around the horn, take a look at their defense. Brought to you by Auto Tire. Gonzalez, Young, and Burns in the outfield. Tracy. And you see Hudson, a Gold Glove winner. Clark and Estrada along the infield.
Bob Melvin getting an opportunity to see a bunch of youngsters now as they're playing in September, and it appears their wild card hopes are over.
Shortstop tonight, highly touted prospect Stephen Drew, JD's brother.
About the Sox for Encarnacion, but there's Stephen Drew. They call his nickname was Dirt, and they say he is an outstanding young talent. Jay Bell was telling me he's the best young shortstop prospect he's ever seen. And he's a pretty good talent offensively. But look at those Sox, huh? That's a new look.
Bruce Mano would love it. Bruce Mano runs the minor league system of the Cardinals. And a dress code for some of those players down in the minor leagues. 2-2 the count on Juan. Reaches forward and picks up a 2-out base hit. So a couple of hits here in the first inning off Miguel Batista. Extends the inning to Spezio.
Broke a 0 for 9 streak for Encarnacion. Came back to lineup yesterday, but he missed several days with a sore hip. And speaking of that, it's worth repeating about Jason Isri now, so Dan.
Yeah, he's out for this weekend at least. Tony La Russa telling us that the problem that he's had with his hip has come up again, and it's an issue where, and there's a look at Scott Rowland, who's out with the shoulder, but as far as Izzy is concerned, he will not pitch this weekend. Although he arrived at the ballpark, felt pretty good, according to Tony La Russa, but it will be a bullpen by committee type situation. You can look for Wainwright to close games out, Braden Looper, and maybe even one of the lefties too.
One of the lefties, if get into a situation where one of their tough lefties come up in the 9th inning, and you may go to a Flores or Tyler Johnson. Still looking for Narveson to make his major league debut.
0-1 pitch to Spezio. Drills it out to right field. Deep, it's back, and it's gone. Back-to-back days and home runs for Scott Spezio. 3-0 Cardinals. And it's another 2-out RBI for Scott Spezio. He is piling those up. 29 of his 42 driven in have come with 2 outs.
And maybe Tony knew something about letting Spezio play this game again. He homered a 2-run home run, a 3-run in last night's game to give the lead, the short live lead. But here a big blast, and Scott Rowland hadn't had very good numbers against Batista, but the Cardinals off to a good start.
Scott Rowland has hit about 190 against tonight's starter Miguel Batista, so Spezio in there again at third, and it's 3-0 St. Louis. The dramatic home run was off the bat of Preston Wilson against Chad Cordell in yesterday's ball game. So many ups and downs in that game yesterday.
At the end of the bat, saw Wilson check his, but that 2-run home run he hit in the 9th inning looked like it was going to steal a victory from Washington and their closer until heartbreak set in the bottom of the 9th.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Broken bat. And Clark puts it away. Cardinals pick up 3 in the first. And it's 3-0 St. Louis. Now at 42 RBIs. The Cardinals lead at 3-0. Diamondbacks lineup. Young, Hudson, and Gonzalez here in the first. Burns is the cleanup man. Then Estrada, Tracy, Clark, Stephen Drew, and Batista. 20 home runs for Gonzo against the Cardinals in his career. Rico's starter is Jeff Weaver, and he's 2-4 with the Cardinals in his 10 starts.
And his last one was maybe his best against the Pirates. He was a loser, but remember that was the 1-0 game. He went 7 innings, 5 hits, and the Cardinals stranded 11 runners that day. So Weaver did his part. The offense has kind of redeemed themselves in the first for Jeff tonight.
Chris Young is hitting .273, 1 home run and 8 RBIs. They're going to get a chance to take a look at some of the young talent here with Arizona. Got off to a great start. Grimsley Saga hit this club. They went south and really couldn't get back in things. National League West, they are 9 games out. Still listed in the wild card standings, 8 games back.
Jeff Weaver pitching for the Dodgers. I'm sure they saw a lot of him, but these are a lot of the young kids.
2-2. What are the Cardinals going to get from Weaver tonight? At times he's been very good, other times not so good. Out to center field, backing up. Spacious outfield and making the catch, Preston Wilson in center. In the pen tonight, Sosa and Hancock and Flores, Looper, Thompson, Wainwright, Kenny, Narveson, and Tyler Johnson. We don't even list Isringhausen available for tonight. And like we said, emergency situation, possibly could pitch over the weekend, but the Cardinals would like to shut him down for this weekend for the 4 games, get back to St. Louis, have George Paletta, the team doctor, take a look at him and find out what the problem is with the left hip. It'll be interesting to see how the Cardinals mix and match late in games. Do they want to save a lefty for the latter stages of a game, because both Wainwright and Looper don't have great numbers against left-handed batters?
Well, just make it fun. And with the absence of Izzy, remember, you signed Looper, who had 28 saves last year. It's 29 is his career high. In case Izzy wasn't available, and everybody thinks that Wainwright, who is slated to go into rotation next year, would be a viable substitute. And as you said, we've seen Hancock close the game out with the save in Houston. So it'll be kind of fun to watch. A challenge for Tony La Russa that I'm sure he readily accepts.
When you talk about Jason Isringhausen going into the season, walks really weren't a problem, especially when he first came to St. Louis. A power pitcher that didn't walk many. As Orlando Hudson pulls it foul, the second baseman that's primarily been in the American League prior to the season. But it makes you think that something mechanically is wrong, and if his mechanics are out of whack, then you think there must be a physical ailment. That's been the problem with Isringhausen this year.
Well, it only makes sense with a degenerative hip.
It's blooped out to shallow left, and the catch is made by Miles. I give Isringhausen credit for this. I mean, he faces the music, it seems like, every time he blows a save. Almost therapeutic to visit with the media as you take a look at the defense. Brought to you by Auto Tire behind Weaver. And he's 1-2 in 7 career starts against the Diamondbacks. And the one thing he has done, and he did it again yesterday after a very tough loss, he'll meet with the media and take his lumps, and he has been quiet about this injury. But you walk a fine line as an athlete, because you don't want to use that as an excuse, and he has said that time and again. My hip is not going to be an excuse, but you want to make sure you put yourself in the best position to succeed, and that's to be healthy.
Very difficult to pitch or hit, do anything on a baseball diamond without having a foundation. And he had one operation a couple years back on the hip, but apparently that is a possibility of having a second.
Gonzalez out to left center field. That's going to drop in. Over to get it, Preston Wilson with a nifty play to slide and get it back in quickly. Stand-up double with 2 down for Luis Gonzalez, a fan favorite here in Arizona.
And that double right there moves him past the tie with Roger Hornsby for 22nd place, and he ties Harry Heidelman for 542 doubles. It's his 47th of the season, and that ties the club record that he set in 2000. The 46 doubles were tied for the National League lead, so now he's leading in that department. And he's 39 years of age, and if he gets to 50, he would be the oldest player in Major League history to have 50 double season.
Here's Burns, looks at a breaking ball and a strike. Well, Gonzalez became the 21st player in big league history to reach the 300 home run, 500 double plateau back in mid-April. He has wound up having a very, very good career.
And of active players, he and Bonds are the only 2.
The Diamondbacks, no hit last night.
Well, right here in this ballpark, Jose Jimenez no hit Randy Johnson, the Diamondbacks, and he won 1-0. Then Randy Johnson had, as a member of the Diamondbacks, had the last one prior to last night. That was in 04, a perfect game. And then they were out hit by 22-year-old Venezuelan, Sanchez.
You think about the brief existence of the Florida Marlins. They've had 4 no-hitters now and 2 World Series titles. Not too shabby. Not many people saw it last night in old Florida.
Had to read about it.
Sounds like a broken bat.
And it is, and Burns will get a new piece of lumber. Hitting in the cleanup spot, 275, 21 home runs, 63 driven in this year. Well, the Cardinals played a day game yesterday in Washington. They lose, then they fly to Phoenix. The Diamondbacks play a night game on the coast in Florida, get no hit, they fly home. So both teams had a tough trip here to Arizona. Which team will be able to recover tonight?
No team wants to be no hit. I think in some ways that was easier to adjust to than the tough loss last night after so many heroes for the Cardinals battled back in that ball game and were in line for the victory. But it wasn't to be.
It was a 1-5 road trip for the Diamondbacks, and tonight they open up a 10-game homestand.
Today they hit on the field here because we have a roof, but that was the first time they never got to hit on the field on their road trip.
Popped up foul territory. Spezio puts it away. So good start for Weaver. Diamondbacks strand a runner at second, and the Cardinals lead it 3-0. To have a lead of 3-0 as we move to the top of the second. Singular Wireless, who's raising the bar? What is the greatest single game achievement in baseball? Perfect game. 4 home runs, 2 grand slams in an inning. Hit for the cycle. 42957 to text your vote. That's presented by Singular Wireless. Here's Belliard. May never see 2 grand slams in one inning ever again.
It only happened once, and the reason it's 4 home runs because no one's ever hit 5 in a game.
Pujols has come close a couple of times to 4 home runs this year in a game. It's the anniversary of hard-hitting Mark Whitten's 4 home run night in Cincinnati. 2-0 pitch to Belliard.
Second game of a doubleheader that night, and very few people saw the final one.
Belliard, Molina, and Weaver are the Cardinals here in the second. So this date in baseball history, Mark Whitten hits 4 home runs. Second game of doubleheader against the Reds. 1993 it took place. What a blast that was, and what a blast this is. The great Jack Buck that night. And you were working with Joe that night.
Yeah, Joe was. Now we're doing that telecast, and there were just a handful of people behind the dugout, the Cardinals dugout. It was a late night, and they were bowing to hard-hitting Mark Whitten. Guys made a white carpet out of towels and gave him a shower with beer afterwards. It was just kind of a fun night.
That guy had a cannon for an arm too.
But you know what? At the end of his career, he had a cannon, but people ran on it because he assumed that nobody was going to run on his arm, and he would stand flat-footed. They catch him not anticipating. They would run on him, and then he rushed the throw and throw it wildly. So yeah, he had a cannon, but he didn't use it at the end.
I was one of those guys that would go to the ballpark early and watch batting practice and watch Ozzie take infield. Always fun to watch the Wizard do his thing, and then watching Whitten throw from right.
When they took infield?
That's when they took infield. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Hit and run is on, and it's chopped towards the left side. Taken by Tracy. And advancing on the play, Belliard to second base, and it brings in Jeff Weaver. Who could forget Chris Carpenter's Cy Young Award season from a year ago? Well, on Sunday, September 17th, the Cardinals play the Giants at 1:15. Coca-Cola and Schnucks have teamed up with the Cardinals to bring the first 25,000 fans with a paid admission a figurine to commemorate Chris Carpenter's Cy Young Award winning season. For tickets, visit stocardinals.com or 345-9000. Disappointing game for Carpenter yesterday, trying to pad that resume for the Cy Young Award. As Weaver lines it out of play and into the seats, and there's a bunch of empty seats tonight.
Well, Brad Penny, who is also in competition for that Cy Young, is pitching tonight and losing. Well, he already lost 7-0. So Brad Penny, who leads in wins with 15 and leads in strikeouts, didn't have a good performance either.
Runner is going. It was a great jump by Belliard, and Weaver fouls it back. He would have been safe at third.
Remember, Weaver, when he made his debut for the Cardinals, it wasn't on the mound, it was as a pinch hitter. And he's always had pretty decent numbers. So another pitcher that Tony can do a few things with.
Trying to jumpstart this franchise again. Josh Burns is their senior VP, and general manager Bob Gebhardt, who was with the Cardinals for a while, is working with the Diamondbacks. Second-year manager Bob Melvin finished under 500 a year ago.
They say that they're going to have one of the lowest payrolls in all of baseball next season.
Can't get much lower than Florida. They're at $15 million. Here's a 1-2 pitch. This is low and away. Jeff Morad is now running this operation. Former super agent that had some of the biggest stars in the game. And now he's on the other side. 2-2 pitch. Weaver retired. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. With Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Cardinal baseball on FSN. 2 outs. Here's Miles, who tripled to start the ball game. Chops it foul. Keeping a watchful eye now on Belliard. It's been part of a hit and run, and then tried to steal third, but Weaver fouled it away. So they're watching him closely now.
They'll watch middle infielders trying to shuffle back and forth, but it's responsibility of Batista to kind of keep an eye on him. And yet with 2 outs, if he gets a hitter, he can't do anything with his speed. Belliard.
Miles grounds it to the second baseman. He's about as sure-handed as they come. A good one. Orlando Hudson at second. Cardinals strand a runner, but they lead it 3-0. 8 World Series. Brief look at that picture. Lou Brock, a collision at home plate.
Every time Gibson or Shannon, Carver, anybody ever saw that picture, they go, slide, Lou, slide. High throw, and he slides, he gets underneath the tag. That ran into the tag with it being chest high.
Stopped by Pujols, rolls on it. Weaver covering, and they got him. Let's hope Albert's all right. You worry about the wrist, you worry about his back. He has dealt with some back issues this year. He stopped it, then he rolled on it, and he comes up with it. Cardinals lead it 3-0. Welcome back to Arizona here in the bottom of the second. Takes a hit away from Johnny Estrada.
A nice play. You see the off-speed pitch, he hooks it and fouls. Now watch him reach back behind him, and then from the seat of his pants he throws a strike to Weaver Cutter. So he committed 5 errors, and he is in line for his first Gold Glove, and we sure hope he gets it.
I think he's going to win it. Derek Lee not playing this year. You know,
J.T. Smith, people like that. Todd Helton is usually always a candidate.
And you know, Al, we trump him for the MVP, and he's always in the top 5 of just about every offensive category. And let's face it, even though it's a defensive award, many times that award goes to an offensive player that has a good defensive season.
Voted on by the managers and coaches, and it is amazing at how many times it seems like it goes to a good defender, but it's also a guy that is a very good offensive player.
There's Chad Tracy, who has been busy defensively tonight, the third baseman. Arizona came into existence. They didn't take long to win. I mean, this is a franchise that was able to go out, get some free agents, and make things happen quickly. As Wilson quickly closed on that play out center.
First two retired here in the bottom of the second.
See, just slightly as he's shading left field, so Preston Wilson gets going, and I sure like that, catching that ball with two hands.
There's Tony Clark. He was their best player, at least voted on by Baseball Writers Association, their chapter here in Arizona a year ago. And Tony Clark is hitting just 194, 5 home runs, 15 driven in.
And missed 36 games on the disabled list with shoulder inflammation, but you just have to believe his career numbers have to be very good against Jeff Weaver. That's very good. 6 for 9, 2 home runs.
2 outs, nobody on. Clark swings and misses. Cardinals certainly have to be intrigued with what they're seeing out of Jeff Weaver now in the last few starts and see if he can't string a bunch together before postseason play hits.
Dave Duncan always kind of had his eye on Jeff and kind of felt like he could be a difference maker with him. And even some of the games he was roughed up, they saw more positives than negatives.
Out to right center field. Wilson won't get it, overruns it. That's going to go to the wall. Tony Clark on his way to second base, and he'll stop right there. Only a double for Tony Clark.
Well, you don't want to make the first or third out at third base, and he debated that when he got around second as he was carrying the piano. Got a little too close to it. Ball got by him, and Encarnacion backs up the play. Only big man and not lightning speed. He thought about it, but then he goes, nah, I better get back here.
He's in scoring position for Stephen Drew, who's hitting .308. 3 home runs, 17 RBIs.
It's going to be a very good player, Stephen Drew.
Clark is now 7 for 10 against Weaver. I remember when Stephen was in high school and JD was part of the Cardinals. And Stephen would come out and work with Jose Oquendo at short.
Sure. I asked Oquendo about it. You know, he said everything about his game was really good. Jay Bell said he's the best young shortstop he's seen. You know, defensively, he really knows the game. He is a student of it, positions himself very well. And offensively, they feel that he's going to be a very good ball player, very good college player, #1 draft pick by Arizona in 2004.
Held out for a little while and then eventually signed. Frank Consul is missing a bunch of playing time because of Stephen Drew. He was activated on August 22nd. Consul was, and currently he is 0 for 16. So Stephen is going to see a bulk of the playing time here in the final 3 weeks.
Well, and he's the future.
No doubt.
You know, so I mean, and the veterans have to understand that.
Struggling with the breaking ball. Molina's got it. Pujols snares it as Molina made that a little tough. First strikeout tonight for Weaver. Tonight it's a look around the major leagues with the FSN Baseball Report, covering every team all season long. Highlights, interviews, analysis you won't get anywhere else. The FSN Baseball Report tomorrow at 6. And it's only seen on FSN. Cardinals have a lead as the top of the third rolls in. Chase Field in Arizona, it's 3-0. Duncan, Pujols, Encarnacion against Batista. And Duncan rips it out to right, but it's going to be caught as Burns took a knee. Ooh, that was hard hit.
That was scorched, and Chris 0 for his last 12, and you really got to wonder, not only Chris Duncan, but a lot of these guys on the Diamondbacks team, many of these rookies are playing in September for the first time, and it takes a bit of a toll.
I would imagine it's got to be more of a toll on a pitcher if he has been logging a bunch of innings. Yeah, you look at a guy like Verlander in Detroit, that's a big question mark for them as they head down the stretch and going into postseason play.
Right, you know, we always talk about, you know, the pitchers wearing down, but you know, position players do the same thing. Ryan Zimmerman, outstanding third baseman for the Nationals, they say he's kind of hit a wall.
Remember we saw David Wright in New York.
Yeah,
He
he's hit a wall, but I mean, he's got a couple. You know, he has last year's experience, but it'll happen, and you kind of worry about it a little bit.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and Albert Pujols. Pujols chopped one to third his first time up. Albert is sitting on 44 home runs this season. He's driven in 116.
Albert was. Well, he had 4 hits on the trip, right? He had 2 home runs and then 2 singles yesterday.
Right. Gets underneath it and hits it a mile high out to left field. Luis Gonzalez there, and there's 2 outs. Cardinal fans, the pennant race is heating up, and stay on top of all the action with mobile alerts from STLCardinals.com. Get in-game scores and lead changes, injury updates, plus club and league news. It's simple using your mobile phone. Text the keyword Cardinals to 65246 or visit STLCardinals.com to sign up today.
Encarnacion and Luis Gonzalez, the Diamondbacks left fielder, were teammates in Detroit. And Luis said Encarnacion pretty much ran him out of the starting job there. And he asked, you know, could I be traded? Instead of being a 4th or 5th outfielder, they traded him to the Diamondbacks. And boy, it's been a nice run, but it's over. This will be his final year, and he's asked them to pretty much tell him that, because he said, I want to enjoy the last couple of weeks with my teammates, and I really want to thank the fans.
Of course, who could forget his game-winning hit 2001. They had a bunch that season and in the postseason. Tony Womack comes to mind. Chad Tracy puts it away. Midway through the 3rd, and the Cardinals lead it by 3. Miguel Batista to lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Cardinals lead it 3-0.
Very interesting person is Miguel. He was named #1 good guy in Major League Baseball by the Sporting News for his off-field contributions. He's authored 2 books. One is a book of poetry.
He lines out to right.
And the other one was a 5-year writing project, the publishing of Through the Eyes of the Law, a book that was released in Spanish, but hoping in the Dominican Republic, but hopes it'll get the English version.
Well, if you've ever wondered what Albert's favorite meal is, go see howtheylive.com to find out. AT&T and host Deion Sanders give you an inside look at your favorite athletes at home, including Mr. Pujols. He and Deion have a wiffle ball contest. You have to find out more at the website seehowtheylive.com. If you haven't seen the commercials, you've been living under a rock. They're everywhere, Al.
I've seen them.
Sure you have. Another pop-up. This one off the bat of Chris Young. Miles is there. And there's 2 outs. Orlando Hudson will be the batter with 2 down. Good start thus far for Jeff Weaver.
Especially after we said he had a good one his last time out. 3 no decisions prior to that.
6 fly ball outs this far. It's the O-Dog up at the plate, Al. Orlando Hudson.
I wondered if they called him that, like 3 Dog. Willie Davis, who was #3, but boy, he could run. And he came to St. Louis towards his end of the career, but most of it was with the Dodgers. But there's a real interesting character.
This guy can play. Orlando Hudson, he's hitting .289, 13 home runs. The second base spot, second spot in the lineup. He's driven in 64. He can also steal a base, and he's a very, very good defender.
if he doesn't win the Gold Glove, it's just somebody's, you know, I mean, he's got so far superior his numbers and assists and double plays and everything involved. His numbers are right at the top.
And he draws a 2-out walk. Hudson was picked up along with tonight's starter Miguel Batista in exchange for Troy Gloss and Sergio Santos, who was last off season. So Hudson is aboard with 2 down, and it brings in Gonzalez.
You're talking about 2001 and his game-winning hit. I thought you were going to talk about the chewing gum that he spit out and somebody picked up and end up on the auction house for $10,000.
$10,000.
It was the gum he was chewing when he got the game-winning hit. I wonder how you display that or what you do with it.
$10,000, huh?
Yeah. Got money to burn out here in the Valley of the Sun.
I guess.
Father of triplets.
It's plain stupidity.
I'm sure it went to a good charity, but
if it went to charity, I'm all for it. If some guy said, I need to have that gum, here's a check for $10,000. I want to check his mind.
How about the guy that picked it up?
Well, there's a problem with him, too.
Yeah.
2 balls, no strikes on Gonzalez. Weaver has gotten the first 2 in the first 3 innings, and then he's run into problems. Gonzalez drills one high in the air out to deep right field. Encarnacion back, looks up, and it's gone. A 2-run homer for Gonzalez. His 15th, RBI 67 and 68. And the lead is cut to 3-2.
Well, those walks, and Weaver has had a lot of trouble with left-handed batters, and this is one guy that you kind of pitch around in this lineup. He didn't do it the first time up. He got a double. This time he just sits on the pitch. Lefties are batting .381 coming in, and that is the 11th home run that Weaver has surrendered, and that is 11 home runs as a Cardinal.
Lefties .381, 11 home runs allowed.
You really have to bear down and try not to walk people in front of a dangerous hitter.
Talking about Gonzalez, he has had a heck of a run. He got to Arizona in 1999, and that's when he just exploded. He had over 200 hits, hit .336 that year. And his big season was in '01. That was the year he won the World Series. He had 57 home runs that season.
Started his career in Houston, and he told me he's a free agent after this season. And he said there's about 5 clubs I'd really like to go, St. Louis being one. Returning back to Houston, Angels, Dodgers, and Padres.
Count is 2-2 on Burns, and Burns is saying that hit me.
The home plate umpire disagrees. Bill Welke. Okay, it didn't hit me. Look at the pitch.
And it did
and
hit.
it didn't hit him.
Here's a 2-2 from Weaver. Cardinals, the trade deadline. His names are being rumored to at least be, being floated out there. Luis Gonzalez was one of them.
Yeah, he had heard that, but he kind of felt that once Chris Duncan started doing so well, that those rumors would subsist, and they did. But Eric Burns being your cleanup man. Does have 21 home runs, but came over and he plays at a high energy and kind of gave this team a little shot in the arm.
Out to left.
Chris Duncan makes the catch. A 2-run homer by Gonzalez, his 15th. Spezio leads it off in the 4th when we come back. Spezio to lead it off against Batista. Spezio's homer tonight, a 2-run shot back in the first, part of a 3-run inning for the Cardinals to start this ball game. Been a very good pickup by the Cardinals. Just talking with Scott on the team plane the other day on our way to Washington, and he absolutely loves being in St. Louis. So it just kind of rejuvenated my career. Got me going again. Focused on baseball. He's from the Chicago area. Has a home there. He also has a home on the West Coast. So he's not too far away from home, and he just loves it in St. Louis. Turned him loose on 3-0, and it's handled by Tony Clark. One of the great segments of Cardinal baseball is about to come your way. The duck rolls out onto your screen. He quacks.
Affleck!
Sometimes.
We don't hear him anymore.
Sometimes, yeah, he's been a little quiet lately. Who was the last major league player to make the final out in 2 no-hitters?
That's a good question.
Out to deep left field. Back is Gonzalez, and he makes the catch. Now apparently, Al, sometimes what happens in our headsets is that our fine audio man in the truck will take out some of the sound effects. So while we don't hear it in our headset, he is truly quacking. So our apologies to the Affleck duck, because apparently he has been as vocal as ever. And Belliard hits it to the third baseman, Chad Tracy. Batista has an easy inning. We're back in Arizona. Not only do we hear the quack, we also heard the footsteps loud and clear in our headset. Who was the last major league player to make the final out in 2 no-hitters? Billy North. You see 74 and 80. Dick Bozeman and Jerry Royce. As Weaver starts things off with a strike to Johnny Estrada. 30-year-old catcher acquired from the Atlanta Braves in exchange for pitcher Lance Cormier and Oscar Villarreal.
Pretty good offensive player. And an outstanding young catcher that made his major league debut yesterday, Miguel Montero. Estrada, is back in there tonight.
Braves felt that they could deal him in the offseason as he was thumped at a play of the plate in interleague play last year at Turner Field. Darren Erstad bowled him over, and Estrada really wasn't the same player after that. In his first full big league season, which was 2004, he was the Silver Slugger Award winner for catchers, and he's hit by the pitch. Burns thought he was hit. Well, this one, he definitely was hit. Estrada is aboard, leadoff man here in the bottom of the 4th. College football Saturday returns this week with Dr. Pepper Big 12 football. Ole Miss takes on Mizzou, and it all begins Saturday with the kickoff show presented by Kyocera at 11, and it's only on FSN Midwest. Missouri Tigers this weekend on FSN. Here's Chad Tracy, fly to center, first time up.
Good luck to the Rams on Sunday.
Open up with Denver. And the football season officially got underway tonight with Pittsburgh. Strike on the outside corner.
Weaver has trouble with these left-handed batters, so try to get in on Estrada, hit him.
You're not a fantasy league player, are you?
No.
At all?
No.
You wouldn't fit in then with the Cardinals. I mean, these guys are into their fantasy leagues.
I know a couple years ago they, I guess it was last year, they flew Andy Bennis up to just be the to head up or to lead the draft. Flew him on the road. I think we were in Chicago when they did their fantasy draft.
Woody Williams was big into it. He kind of was the head man for a while. Steve Klein always had fun with that. Matter of fact, he's in one of the drafts with a bunch of the players with the Cardinals. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Cardinals have been struggling on the road. They've dropped 15 of their last 20 road games. 2-2 pitch. Out to left center field. That's going to drop for a hit. Over to Kenneth Wilson. Cuts it off. Into Miles and safe at second is Chad Tracy. I'm sure Preston Wilson had to do that. Had the chance to do that over again. He goes in a different direction with his throw.
Exactly right. By trying to get the lead man, he allows the hitter to get himself in scoring position. He wasn't going to get the lead man, so but he goes to third here, and Estrada's in, but that allows Tracy to go into second base. If he fires to second, then you have first and third, and you have a double play in order.
Brings in the 34-year-old first baseman Tony Clark, 6'7", 250 pounds.
10 for 11 now.
7 for 10.
7 for 10.
He is from Newton, Kansas. Started his big league career with Detroit back in 1995. Couple of years with the Yankees. First season with Arizona was last year. It was a good year. 30 home runs, 87 RBIs.
I was playing semi-pro ball in Wichita, and we used to go in to play the Newton Cowboys. And if it's the town I used to think of, this was back in the 60s. And you pull up to the main I guess really crossroads of the town, and there would be a sign in the middle of the street that just said, what time the game was tonight and who the opponent was.
It's a baseball town.
Newton Cowboys.
3-1 the count.
I was playing for the Sunflower Packers.
Mentioned Wichita. The Shockers of Wichita State have had a terrific program for a number of years.
Gene Stevenson, the head coach there.
On the outside corner. That time Weaver got the call. Once it got full.
When he was a baton twirler early in his career, he was ready to toss that bat, and then Bill Wilkie put up the arm signifying a strike. He kind of flipped the bat around and said, I wasn't trying to show you up.
I don't know if I blame him, because a couple pitches before that, identical pitch, it's called a ball.
And I concur.
The 3-2. And a swing and a miss, strikeout for Jeff Weaver.
It's a way to attack a left-handed batter. Second strikeout of the night.
Now we always talk about Weaver struggling against lefties. Explain why he has trouble getting these lefties out.
Well, I think a lot of it, is because that's the slider he has, and they're going to intentionally pass Stephen Drew and bring up Batista. But so if you leave that, where you're always trying to throw it a ball to a right-handed batter, or you start it out their way, well, now that either hits the batter, or it's left down and in, right in the danger spot or the wheelhouse of a left-handed hitter. You can throw that slider, but you have to elevate it and get it up above the hands to a left-handed batter.
Batista is hit under 100 in his career, so they'll be loaded for him. He lined to right his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Bases loaded. Cardinal fans, on Friday, September 15th, Cardinals take on the Giants. The first 25,000 fans, 21 and over, receive an inaugural season replica of Busch Stadium, courtesy of Busch Beer. For more information or tickets, call 345-9000. The Giants without Mike Matheny. Wish him nothing but the best as he deals with post-concussion syndrome. Bases loaded. And Weaver steps off the mound.
Bob, dry his hand.
As a team, the Diamondbacks hitting .267 this year, which is 6th best in the National League. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Not many times do you see a pitcher on the mound shake off the catcher with the opposing pitcher who hits under 100 in his career at the plate.
But it is a key time with only 1 out, bases loaded, you're only leading by a run, and there's nothing more reassuring to a pitcher when you think in your mind what you want to throw, and the catcher puts down that sign, just kind of sells the point, and then you feel good about it.
Ground ball, Pujols, backhands can come to the plate. That's one. And Molina will hold on. So they get the force play at home. There's 2 outs, and it's up to Chris Young, the leadoff man.
Albert playing in and well off the line, so he gets that and fires home for the force out. No really throw for Molina. Nobody really over at the first base bag. Belliar was playing up the middle. Albert was way off the line. Weaver tried to come over, but they got the big out, second out.
Check swing by Young. He held up. One of the very good young players they've got in their system is Justin Upton, brother of BJ. And both have been top picks in the draft. Go along with Drew. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that's the good breaking ball there that he can throw to the right-handers. But when he throws that to a lefty, it's kind of sitting right in his wheelhouse.
Chris Young was a 2020 guy at Birmingham, AA affiliate for the White Sox a year ago. He was part of the Javier Vasquez deal.
A little bit of sidearm there. I was about ready to see that he might use that with a strikeout pitch.
Weaver has struck out 2 tonight. He's walked 2, one of those intentional. First career at bat with the bases loaded for Chris Young. Cardinals lead it 3-2 as we play here in the bottom of the 4th.
Chris Young made his major league debut on August 18th and got his first major league hit off of Woody Williams. He was acquired from the White Sox on December 20th of 05 with pitchers Orlando Hernandez and Luis Vizcaíno in exchange for Javier Vasquez in cash. He was the 8th best prospect among the top 50 in baseball prior to the 2006 season.
Boy, Vasquez got that big deal from New York after coming from Montreal. Had a great first half in his first season with the Yankees, and after that he just has not been the same pitcher. With the White Sox now. Spoils that pitch. It's 2-2. Pittsburgh over the Cubs today, 7-5. Phillies over Florida. That's a big game there, 14-8. The Mets blanked the Dodgers. That's a final now, 7-0. And Detroit beat Minnesota over in the American League, 7-2. Big series there. 2-2 pitch. Foul back.
With the San Diego not playing today and the Dodgers loss, they only have a half-game lead over the Padres.
How bad are the Cubs this year?
Cubs were just leapfrogged over by Pittsburgh, so the Cubs, strongest team in the division, holding everybody else out. Oh my goodness.
Where is that pitch? Weaver thought it was strike three. He was halfway towards the dugout.
Boy, he didn't want to run that count full, and Bill Welke sure not happy with Weaver, but it sure looked like it was down the middle. Might have been a little bit low. Molina trying to frame it. Big pitch early in the game.
And a ground ball. Spezio can just stay on the bag, and he makes the play. The force. And Jeff Weaver pitches out of a jam. Fifth inning rolls in. When we come back, it's 3-2. 3-2. Fifth inning. Cardinals lead it. Looking forward to watching Anthony pitch tomorrow night. And I'm also looking forward to watching Livan Hernandez. You know, Livan's a guy that's kind of recreated himself. Innings pile up for him as Montero takes over behind the plate. Miguel Montero.
It's a young man that they really made his major league debut yesterday. No hitter, but they really rave about him.
Yadier Molina, Jeff Weaver, and Aaron Miles. You had a chance to take in our new auto tire commercials?
No.
Well, I could tell you, Al. They are outstanding. It's good to have you back in them, too. I missed you.
Oh, thank you.
Molina with a base hit.
Nice of you to talk one of your many sugar daddies into letting me come back on the air.
Al.
To John Ronzik.
No reason to be bitter. You're back. We wanted you back. Here's the pitcher, Jeff Weaver. Jeff had a chance to see his brother pitch while we were in Washington, and the Angels were Camden Yards taking on Baltimore.
Yeah, I asked him about that. We had the day game, and we threw in time for his either take that jaunt over to Baltimore and watch his former team and his brother pitch, and he won that game.
He's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough. You're kind of in a situation where you're knocked out of a job, and the guy that knocks you out is your brother. Maybe it lessens the blow a little bit. Diving stop by Hudson, saves a run. Miles beats it out. Infield hit. But Orlando Hudson saves a run, and it brings in Duncan. Great play.
You're absolutely right. He is fun to watch. He's very, very athletic. Great speed, and it pays off here. This ball looked like it was going to go up the middle when it got by the pitcher. Dives for it. Scrambles. He even looked at the lead runner. And Molina at third base, but by knocking it down, keeping it on the infield, he keeps this a 3-2 game.
Couple of hits tonight for Miles. Here is Duncan, who lined out. He scorched one to right field his last time up.
Remember, he got the RBI First RBI of the game, the ground out.
Orlando Hudson is only 28. They've got Stephen Drew, and they've got Upton on the horizon, so they can build around those three. Runners at the corners. Pujols on deck. Count of 1 ball and no strikes on Chris Duncan. Duncan's got 15 home runs on the year. Long look by Batista. Here it comes. People ask us about, a game like yesterday, and how does the team take it? With a long flight and long trip here to Arizona, and it's just such a long season. Guys don't get too high, they don't get too low.
No, it's just people or fans think that obviously these players care immensely,
very much so,
but they can bounce back and don't let these things just submarine you or take you into a tailspin.
2-1 pitch. Hit out of play. Boy, the ball just jumps off his bat, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And no longer does he just get fastballs.
I find myself getting excited when he has a chance to come up and do some damage. I mean, he has turned into a weapon for Tony La Russa. 2-2 pitch. Outside.
Remember,
he
was pretty excited in spring training, but unless he was going to play every day in the field, he needed to go to AAA and get his at-bats.
And Al, this is a perfect situation here to see what kind of pitch he's going to get. You've got runners at first and third. He doesn't want to load them up for Pujols, so it's a chance here to really do some damage.
Batista kind of throws the whole kitchen sink at you. They'll bring in the splitters.
Albert's going to make a friend over there, but a 5-year-old made his night. That's something he won't soon forget. Here's a 3-2, and Duncan pulls it foul. Cardinals with a couple of hits here in the 5th. They've got 5 in the game. Batista taking his time here. Another 3-2 pitch to Duncan. And it's up to Pujols with 2 outs. First strikeout for Batista. Big one there. This week, FSN Midwest and WIL continue the search for the ultimate Cardinals crazy fan. Looking for fans whose devotion is so complete it's borderline crazy. For details, listen to the Cornbread Show on 92.3 WIL or go to foxsports.com. The keyword is Midwest. 2 outs, runners at first and third for Albert Pujols. Pujols is 0 for 2. Albert chopped one to third his first time up, back in the first. He's also flied to left.
Albert got his first major league home run right here in this ballpark.
One-0 pitch. Is that against Randy Johnson?
No.
Because he did a homer against him, I thought, in that series.
I'm trying to think. It was a Latin player who tried to knock him down in the next pitch. Tomahawked a home run to left field.
2 balls, no strikes on Pujols. Situation like this, you don't think a base is open, but you got second base. It's now 3-0. I'd be shocked if Pujols gets anything to hit. Agreed?
Yes. There's a lot of pitchers make the mistake trying to come back. It's a hitter's count now, and it gave him something, but it was off speed. Might have been the splitter there, but it was up in the zone a bit.
It's twice tonight the Cardinals have swung away with a count of 3 balls and no strikes. The other was Spezia.
All you do is, manager will take these veteran guys and they'll just sit there and say, just be disciplined. Look for something that's in the zone, and if it's there, go to hack.
3-1 pitch to Albert. The ball gets away. They're going to try to score, and they will. Yadier Molina makes it 4-2.
That's heads-up play by Molina.
As you know, he better have a good jump.
Well, he's not that quick, but with your anticipation, secondary lead, watch him out there. And he sees the separation, and he comes home. And the catcher tries to rush the throw, Montero, and doesn't connect. So runners at first and second. The Cardinals got a 4-2 lead.
Encarnacion with a single, a run scored in the first. He's also popped out to third.
Score that at pass ball.
We did not get a report, at least I didn't hear it. Maybe you did, that something was wrong with Estrada.
No, I didn't either.
He was hit by a pitch earlier in the game, so that might have been it.
Assume that just precautionary. Get him out of there, get some ice on it.
Pickoff play. Encarnacion in his familiar spot, right field tonight. Preston Wilson in center. And still no word on a return of Jim Edmonds. We'll leave it up to him and how he feels.
Well, I think with Juan and that hip being a little bit sore, it makes sense to let him play right field instead of the very demanding center field where you're going left and right. Put Preston out there.
Two-one pitch on the outside corner, 2-2. Juan didn't like the call. That one at 94 miles an hour on the gun here at the ballpark.
He's had 31 saves last year for Toronto.
There's a 2-out base hit out to right field. They're going to wave in Miles. He's going to score. That makes it 5-2. Pujols on his way to third and in there safely. Juan Encarnacion with RBI number 71.
Big 2-out base hit out there.
And 4 of the 5 runs have been scored with 2 outs by the Cardinals.
Ryan Price, the pitching coach here for Bob Melvin, out to talk to Batista, and just the ball down and away, and he just sliced it that way. The second baseman Hudson was playing up the middle. Burns, the right fielder, wait for it to get to him, and then that time, Albert scooted from first to third on Juan's RBI single. Activity in the Arizona bullpen.
2 outs, runners at first and third.
Spezio with a 2-run homer back in the first, and he also grounded out 2 first, 1 for 2 tonight. I would think with the way that he has played and the fact that he understands the business side of baseball that Spezio is going to be back wearing that Cardinal uniform. Just a gut feeling with it.
Well, I would think so. And not going to try and rob the bank.
Why not? He's had a good year. He's played the outfield. He's played first. He's played second. He has played third.
One of the better pinch hitters for the ball club. Does it shock you that he has 10 home runs now?
It does. On that pitch and fouled it back.
Pitch up in his eyes, and they opened up, and he put a hack on it, tried to level the swing.
Comes an 0-2 pitch. Instead, a check on the runner. That's Encarnacion at first. .76 pitches tonight by Bautista. Two is tap foul. Crowds are dwindling here in Arizona. World Championship season, they've been competitive in the West, and we had the 1-2 combination of Schilling and Johnson. Great years from Gonzalez, Steve Finley. Tony Womack was productive here. Mark Grace. 2-2 pitch. And Mark Grace works on the television side on FSN Arizona. Tom Brenneman, you'll hear Tom call the National League Championship Series again this year. Son of the Hall of Famer Marty Brenneman.
Just looking at Bautista's last 13 starts. He's 4-0 with 9 no decisions. He has never defeated the Cardinals. He's 0-3 in his career against St. Louis.
Two pitch to Spezio. Broken bat slowly hit to Orlando Hudson. The Cardinals strand 2. They have stranded 3 tonight. They pick up 2 here in the top of the 5th, and they lead it 5-2. Raising the bar, brought to you by Singular Wireless. What is the greatest single game achievement in baseball? As Weaver starts the bottom of the 5th with a ball to Orlando Hudson. And the answer, a perfect game. Randy Johnson was, at least prior to last night, the last to throw a no-hitter. That was also a perfect game. At that time, Randy was wearing the Diamondbacks uniform.
Anibal Sanchez threw the one last night, a rookie. And the last rookie to throw one prior to last night was Bud Smith for the Cardinals.
About to ask you, do you know what has happened to Bud?
He's in the minor leagues someplace, but
maybe even in independent baseball, I thought.
I think you're right, now that you come to think of it.
That's smoked out to right center field. Over to get it, Preston Wilson cuts it off. And on his way to second base, Orlando Hudson. I mentioned I had done that game on radio with Mike Shannon that night. And Tony Gwynn was hurt, but he was available to pinch hit, and he pinch hit in the 8th. You knew it was just if he got past Tony Gwynn, you really felt like he was going to do it. San Diego just didn't have that potent of a lineup. It was about this time in the season when he did it.
There's more no-hitters thrown in September because of the fact you bring up so many kids from the minor leagues, and a lot of times, and Gonzalez was talking about last night, he said a lot of our hitters just did the pitcher a favor.
Gonzo out to center, well hit, and it's going to be caught. Hudson will tag up on his way to third. A spacious ballpark in left center and right center. It's 413. It's a high wall out there too, and it's 407 to dead center.
I like what Orlando Hudson did. He just stayed at the second base back, knowing it's either going to be caught or it's going to carry him off that wall, and he would score from second base either way. Watch the runner at second base. See, he sees he's going back there, so figures it's either going to be caught or it's going to bounce off the wall, and he could score from second base either way. But by doing so, the ball being caught, he could advance and get to third with just one out.
Here's Burns. He is 0 for 2. With his speed, if it drops, he's going to score easily.
That's what I mean. He understands his speed and knows there's padding up there to halfway up that yellow line, but beyond that, it's a hard surface. It'll carry him away from there.
Here comes a 1-0 pitch by Weaver. Hudson a year ago only committed 6 errors. That's it, 6 errors at second base while playing with the Toronto Blue Jays. He had 699 chances too.
Gave up a lot. They got Troy Glass.
This is where you ask Weaver to shut the door. After the Cardinals give him a 3-run lead, it's now 5-2. You'd like to see him put up a 0 in this inning.
1 ball, 2 strikes. It's got him fishing on the breaking ball away, and that's what they call the slider.
Drops down, and he struck him out. And Molina thought there were he thought there were 3 outs. There's only 2. He's headed to the dugout.
Let's watch him. Sidearm, gets a strikeout, and he's heading off to the dugout. Or he'll say, I was just trying to deke the runner.
Sure.
To cover up.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, here's deking the runner.
Deking the runner, but Orlando wouldn't bite. There's Johnny Estrada, or rather, now it's Montero, after Estrada was hit by the pitch, taken out of the game in the 4th. Montero on one hop hits it to the second baseman, Belliard. And Weaver pitches around the double to start the inning. Hardy's hot pitch of the game, Jeff Weaver. And Weaver with 3 strikeouts tonight. That's Tony Clark back in the 4th inning with a couple of runners on. Key strikeout in the game. As the Cardinals, after Weaver pitched out of a jam in the 4th, they wind up getting 2 runs in the top of the 5th. We move to the 6th, and the Cardinals lead it 5-2. There's a line on Weaver this far, 93 pitches. Cardinals with Wilson, Belliard, and Molina. First pitch is fouled back. Right forearm contusion is what we hear from the medical staff of the Diamondbacks concerning Johnny Estrada. Out of this game and day to day. But aren't we all?
Preston Wilson got a pitch that was up in the zone a little bit, fouled it back. A nice addition.
He sure has. He makes me think of Cesar Cedeno a little bit. The Cardinals picked him up, and he was such a key part of it. And a great play made by the third baseman, Chad Tracy. Do or die with the bare hand, and he comes up with it.
Almost like I might have changed direction on him a little bit as he reached out with the bare hand, gathers it in, and then, of course, Tony Clark with his 6'8" frame. Here's the third baseman coming in there. Tried to get sidestepped to where he could get sidearm, where he get a little bit more on the throw. And Tony Clark, the big man with soft hands, scoops it up with the long stretch.
Now Wilson is different. What you saw with Cesar Cedeno, but the idea just adding some punch to the lineup down the stretch. Cesar had some huge home runs.
Seemed like he hit well over 400, and as you said, some timely hitting.
Another chance for Chad Tracy. He's been busy tonight. High throw, Belliard retired. Well, tomorrow, tune in as the Cardinals take on the Diamondbacks, FSN Midwest. And that will be presented in high definition. With the razor sharp clarity of HD, you'll feel like you're at the game. Check with your local cable provider for more information and HD channel number. Catch the Cardinals in HD on FSN. Here's Molina. Nobody at the on-deck circle yet for the Cardinals. That spot is Weaver, who is due up.
Do have a reliever warming up.
That could be it.
Lefty, and it looks like it's Tyler Johnson.
You know, to me, Al, with
There's Rose.
Isringhausen unavailable, it'll be interesting to see how Tony wants to use his bullpen. If he saves certain guys for the latter stages of the game now.
I think he will try and save a lefty. With they have so many left-handers in this lineup.
You got Chad Tracy, a lefty, in the switch hitting Clark, and then Stephen Drew from the left side coming up.
Clark is a switch hitter. They have Estrada, who's out of this game with that, and Hudson are switch hitters.
Jeff Weaver doesn't look too pleased. Three-one pitch to Molina. It's ball 4. So Yadier is aboard for the second time tonight. That'll close the book on Weaver. Mike Rose will be the pinch hitter.
Rose got a base hit the first time in St. Louis. He pinch hit in the Washington series and struck out after a lengthy battle.
Little surprised they didn't let Weaver go at least one more inning, but with those lefties coming up, they felt they got enough out of him.
And it is Tyler Johnson warming up.
Tyler had a strikeout yesterday on 3 pitches of Felipe Lopez. 1-0 pitch on its way to Rose.
Activity in the Diamondbacks bullpen with a lefty and righty going.
Five innings, 5 hits, a couple of runs, both earned for Weaver tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike, and here it comes. Broken bat popped up. That's going to find the seats. I thought the bat did too.
Over the Cardinals dugout and into the seats, and they're checking to make sure somebody's okay. Well, big smile on the young man.
Everybody seems to be all right down there.
Oh, got his pinky. He's okay. Got a baseball. He's got a portion of bat. I always wonder sometimes if they wouldn't take, the bat away like that when it's got such a sharp, jagged edge. Kind of dangerous.
He'll be fine. That ball gets away from Montero. He's had a tough night so far. He's only played a couple of innings.
First one was a pass ball that got between his legs, and Molina scored from third. This one, tough play for him. He tries to get over, but really trying to do it mostly with the glove, and the ball eluded him, and Molina goes to second. He's been pretty active on the base paths, hasn't he?
Sure has. Scored a run on that pass ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Rose. Struck him out. They threw 5.5 here in Arizona. The Cardinals lead it 5-2. From Chase Field in Arizona, Tyler Johnson, our call to the bullpen, brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers. 46th appearance on the year for Tyler. Look at Chad Tracy, Tony Clark, and Stephen Drew here in the bottom of the 6th. That's it for Weaver. 5 innings, 5 hits allowed, and a couple of runs. We figure at this point Tyler Johnson would probably be your early lefty and Randy Flores your late.
And then got a right-hander warming up in the Cardinals pen, so we'll have to see how long Tyler goes.
Ground ball hit to Belliard. Couple of steps to his right, makes the play.
Tyler, I believe his family has come in from Southern California. His grandfather and grandmother lived here in the Phoenix area, and I met his grandfather in St. Louis. Very fascinating man. He was talking to him, about aerodynamics and different things, and asked him what he did. He's retired, and he had a degree in aerodynamics and mathematician, and he was the chief architect of the F-14 Tomcat.
Turn around Tony Clark, and he fouls one back. A lot of fans have wanted, Cardinals take a hard look at Wainwright, his role in the bullpen. Now, you're going to get your chance to see him possibly close some games out. He is penciled in, at least at this point, to be a starter next season and in the rotation. You got to wonder if he is best served though in the bullpen. I mean, with what we've seen so far this year, he has been very good.
Well, he's a weapon. He's a weapon there, and he would be a guy that you could say down the road could close out games.
Good work here by Tyler. 2 down. Two outs. It'll bring in Stephen Drew.
Tyler's actually throwing more strikes right now, and it's showing his confidence.
Pitch by pitch feature brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
Fastball down, and a fastball at foul back that was up a little bit. Breaking ball, and another good one. Good slider right there. He swings over the top.
If he can locate his fastball, this guy could be dangerous.
Yeah, there's times where he's got the very effective slider down and away to the lefties. Hung that one.
Hit out to right center, and it's going to drop and roll to the 413 side. Stephen Drew can really run, just like JD. He's going to wind up at third base. They run similar, don't they?
Yeah.
Almost upright, and they glide.
I think Stephen plays with a lot more intensity than JD does. And they said that when they were playing the Dodgers, they said Stephen really put on a show. There was a breaking ball there, but he hung one. And he got a good rip on it out into right center. And we'll see if now Tony's just stalling to see what happened. Here's the breaking ball. You see it started inside and then just left it in the middle of the plate for the triple.
Watching him, he reminds me of JD Drew. Even the swing, the way he runs.
Except his nickname is Dirt. We never associated that nickname with JD.
So Tyler gets the first 2, then the triple by Stephen Drew. Pinch hitter coming up for Arizona. And Tony La Russa will go to his bullpen. The bullpen brought to you by Chevrolet. 12th appearance, no record, a 4.61 ERA.
All right, pitched in yesterday's ball game after being recalled for his second tour on Tuesday. And at Memphis, he pitched in 51 games with an ERA at 150 and a 2.2 record. Damon Easley, the veteran, is going to hit here. I asked Mike Aldretti, the hitting coach for Diamondbacks. I said, what about Damien? I said, is he still swinging the bat? He said he has the best swing on the team.
guy that's been around for a while, as he was called up in 1992 by Anaheim and spent a good portion of his career in Detroit and Tampa Bay. Last couple of seasons with Florida, now Arizona.
He had a big season and contract with Detroit, and then he went to Tampa Bay after he was released, and it was the largest contract in Major League Baseball history at that time that was still owed him at the time of a release. And he really struggled in Tampa Bay, but Cardinals even had some interest in him last year when they were looking for, infield backup help, and he had a real solid season for Florida.
Count of 2 balls, no strikes on Easley. There's the first strike, 2-1. Easley pinch hitting for Batista. His night is through, so both the starters are through tonight. Weaver gave the Cardinals 5 innings. Batista 6 innings for Arizona. Cardinals lead at 5-2. Good pitch. And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Josh spent 5 years in the Cardinals minor league system. And remember, he went to Quincy College. He's from Pennsylvania, but he went to Quincy College and actually started in the independent league with the River City Rascals. Had some arm trouble. Former Cardinal Rich DeLucia helped him rehab.
Reaching for it, gets a ground ball. Miles steps and throws. The inning started with Tyler Johnson, finished off by Kenny, and it's 5-2. Hyundai long drive inning, and it's Donald Maris. If the Cardinals hit a home run this inning, Donald will qualify for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. We had a winner yesterday thanks to Yadier Molina. You got a chance with Miles, Duncan, and Pujols. Doug Slayton into the game, a left-hander. Monday against Florida, he saw his line there.
That was his major league debut. Had very good numbers this year. Started at Tennessee. Had 8 saves and a 1.88 ERA in 40 games. Then he went to Tucson on July 19th. Couple saves and ERA 0.45.
And Miles grounds it to Hudson. Couple of steps to his right. And the Cardinal leadoff man is retired as we start play here in the 7th. Miles is 2 for 4 with a couple of runs scored. Here's Duncan, who is 0 for 3 with an RBI.
Left-handed batters were held to a 156 average this year by Slayton. Righties 212 and overall 192. He's drafted by Arizona in the 17th round of the 2000 draft.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Duncan pops it up. Hudson going out and makes the grab. 2 outs. It brings in Albert Pujols, who was walked tonight. Rounded out to third and flied out to left. The lefty's trying to make quick work of the Cardinals here at the top of the 7th. And Mr. Melvin is going to go to his bullpen, it looks like, and not let the lefty face Albert.
Well, you got so many relievers now. Why not use them?
Good work there by the lefty. Gets Miles. He gets Duncan. Bob Melvin to the bullpen. A matchup that he likes with Pujols. 5-2 Cardinals here in the 7th. 5-2 Cardinals. 6 hits aside. And Jorge Julio into the ball game. Picked up in the El Duque trade. He was pitching for the Mets this season. And now with Arizona, with 2 outs, nobody on, he's called upon to face Albert Pujols.
He was their closer for a while, as he has amassed 16 saves on the year, 15 of those with Arizona. Strikeout kind of guy. Got 99 career saves. He spent a long time with Baltimore and last year with the Mets. He was part of the Chris Benson trade. It took him from Baltimore to New York.
First pitch at 96 miles an hour.
97 with the second.
And Pujols greets him with a base hit. Second time that Albert has been on base with a walk and a single. 1 for 3 tonight, and it brings in Juan Encarnacion.
Right-handed batters actually have hit better against this right-hander. They hit 246 off him. Lefties, Poultry 152.
2 outs, runner at first. Cardinals leading by 3 runs. First pitch to Juan. Breaking ball on the outside corner. Good pitch. Julio last season with Baltimore 3-5, ERA near 6. In the setup role and appeared in 67 games. That one at 97.
And the interesting thing about that is he had 3 consecutive seasons prior to last year where he had at least 20 saves, including 36, his career high in 03. But no saves a year ago.
Mets needed pitching. They picked up El Duque.
Or I should say in 05 with Baltimore.
Mets are expecting Pedro Martinez back soon. Tom Glavine has a clean bill of health now. And he strikes out Encarnacion. Time to stretch here in Arizona. It's 5-2 Cardinals. You just joined us. Let's give you our game summary. The recap brought to you by Jack in the Box. Scott Spezio. After the Cardinals led 1-0, he would make it 3-0. His second home run in as many games, his 10th on the year. Molina would score on a pass ball. And Juan Encarnacion would pick up a 2-out RBI base hit to right to score Aaron Miles, who's had a couple of hits and a couple of runs scored. 4 of the 5 runs tonight for St. Louis scored with 2 outs. A little surprised here, Al, to see Braden Looper coming in here in the 7th.
Interesting. You know, it could be leave Looper out there for 2 innings. And, you know, then you play it by ear with Flores and Wainwright.
That's exactly
what happened.
What Tony had kind of indicated to me, that you know, some of these guys may be extended for more than just their usual 1 inning.
And I kind of like you think there, you say, okay, you go Looper, maybe 2 innings, or attempt for the save. There you see Taguchi in center. Wilson goes to left. But, you know, and then you kind of have that. Or you could, you know, do Wainwright. You get a little trouble with Wainwright because, you know, a lot of times they don't like to go back-to-back innings.
Leadoff hit for Chris Young. Dave Duncan, talking with him before the game, he said it'll be situation dictated with these guys and how they're used, and trying to feel, you know, have a little bit of a feel for the game and, you know, what situations may arise late and how they maybe want to use some of those lefties, and also a situation here with Looper and with Wainwright. Here's Hudson, who has scored a run after he walked in the 3rd and doubled in the 5th.
Looper has been throwing much better. He was in line for the victory until it slipped away in the 9th yesterday. Threw 2 pitches yesterday to record the final out at the bottom of the 8th.
One ball, 1 strike. Luis Gonzalez on deck. Here comes a 1-1 pitch on the outside corner for strike 2. after we finish these 4 games against Arizona. It's back home at the new Busch Stadium. Cardinals still with 7 games left against Houston. They could have a big say as to whether or not the Astros make it into postseason play.
And have a lot to say about the wild card team too. Got the Giants. They've got these 4 games here. Houston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia with a big win today. They were tied with Florida, 3 games back. So their win will go past Philadelphia, 2.5 games back.
Strikeout for Braden Looper.
Big strikeout here. Set up away is Molina, and he just throws the fastball right by him.
There's Gonzalez, who hit one to deep center field last time up.
He's got a double and a 2-run home run in this game.
37th strikeout this season for Looper. Just over 63 innings on the year.
Good fastball down and away, 93 miles an hour. There's Gonzalez, hit him in the open stance. A lot of times he'll spray the ball around, but you make a mistake on the inner part, and he can hit it a long way.
Most innings out of the bullpen for the Cardinals. Hancock with 70 2/3, and then Wainwright, and then Looper. Comes a 1-1 pitch to Gonzalez. Instead of check on the runner at first, it's Chris Young.
He's all studying the third base coach, Carlos Tosca.
The Cardinals win tonight. If they can hold on, they go to 11 games above 500. Grounder, can they turn 2? No, only 1. Belliard wanted to make sure and get a shore out. And a runner in scoring position for Eric Burns. Burns is 0 for 3.
He made the final out of the no-hitter yesterday.
San Diego has opened up, going into play tonight, a 3-game lead over the 2 teams you mentioned before, Florida and Philadelphia. But they've still got a chance to win the West, only a game back of Los Angeles.
Half game back. They're idle today, and the Dodgers lost.
Mets won that game 7-0.
And that was over Brad Penny. And they really have some tough. They don't have any starters for the rest of this weekend, I think, coming up.
Detroit beats Minnesota. So they now lead the Twins by 5 games. That's their 86th win on the year. That American League wild card race. Chicago loses as well, so Minnesota still leads it by a half game. Boston 6 out. Anaheim is 6 out. And Minnesota half game in front of the White Sox. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Reaching for it, Burns, and he's going to fly out to Sotoguchi in center. We played 7. Cardinals lead it 5-2. Barry Weinberg huddled up there with Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan. Spezio will lead it off for the Cardinals. 2-run homer back in the first, his 10th on the year. Julio still in the game. Fastball and taken for ball 1. And speaking of football, they have a new facility
It's located in Glendale, which is about 10 miles west of where we're at here in Phoenix. They also have their hockey arena out there. 2 balls and no strikes. They say it is a state-of-the-art facility, one of the best in the country. Spiezio unloads down the right field line. Stay fair. It is gone. It's a home run for Scott Spiezio. Just fair. 2-home run night. And he absolutely unloaded on that pitch to make it 6-2 Cardinals.
I went to Scott Rowland today and started calling him Wally Pip. Scott, matter of fact, you know, I said, "You okay?" And he said, "Sure, I'm fine." And I said, "You okay?" And he started looking at his shirt like he spilled all of his lunch on it or something like that, because he fully anticipated being in the lineup today. But Spiezio gets the call, and right now it was the right decision. But I think Scott Rowland will be in there tomorrow, but we might find Spiezio in the outfield.
They better find him a spot somewhere. That's 3 home runs in the last 2 games. As Wilson just got a piece. 1 balls, 2 strikes.
And it tucks that front shoulder, holds it close, the bat close to the chest, and then he just pulled the trigger on that pitch that was up and in.
Wilson loses the bat and strikes out. Out number 1 here in the top of the 8th. Preston is 0 for 4. So Scott Spiezio with 11 home runs, 43 RBIs now, and limited playing time this season.
And a rare RBI without 2 outs.
It has been rare this season for Spiezio. Here's Belliard.
29 of his 43 RBIs have come with 2 outs.
Spiezio has 11 home runs, just over 220 at bats this year. Backhanded play by Hudson. Leaps, throws. What a play.
Well, if you didn't believe what Dan has been telling you about Orlando Hudson in his defensive prowess, you just saw it right there.
Also had that diving play earlier to save a run. And we saw him last year in interleague play with the Blue Jays, and Julio just got a piece of it to slow it up. And then he comes up with the Derek Jeter type throw that Jeter's made famous. But we saw him on that slick artificial turf, the Sky Dome, and he came up with some great plays in those 3 games. But playing up there, he's not going to get noticed very much.
He got noticed enough for the Gold Glove, and he should win another one here in the National League.
Got a 1 ball 1 strike on Molina. That's a fair ball down the right field line. Over to get it, Burns, and it's a single for Yadier Molina. Good night for Molina on base 3 times.
His last 3 plate appearances, he has a hit, a walk, and a hit. Scored a run on a pass ball from third. After the walk, he went from first to second on a wild pitch. He's been pretty active.
So Taguchi will be the hitter. Took over in center field last inning and late arriving to the on-deck circle.
Well, he probably didn't realize where he was inserted in part of the double switch. Brought in Looper, and Taguchi was put in the 9 spot, and Looper in Duncan's vacated spot, number 2. And nobody warming up for the Cardinals, so Looper will start the night. Excuse me, the 8th.
Pitch taken outside, first plate appearance for So Taguchi. Anthony Reyes is tomorrow night's starter. That game will be on FSN in high definition. The hotel today, ran into our buddy Charlie Spoonhour, who lives in Las Vegas now full time.
Every time we come to the Phoenix area, we see Charlie.
He gets back to St. Louis
fair amount of times. I work with him in the winter on some of the basketball games from the Missouri Valley.
Oh, I thought he'd occasionally come to the watering holes because there's none in Vegas.
It's tough to find one, isn't it,
Yeah.
in Vegas?
Yes. Saw one time one of the shots when we were at the dugout. Saw Skip Schumacher walk in front of Spezio, and Ed Lynch, former big league pitcher and also former general manager.
He's here tonight, right?
He's here, and he said, "Is Schumacher here?" He said he talked to the Olympic guy today, and Schumacher left Memphis to go to the Olympic team. And the team qualified for.
He was terrific too.
Well, they qualified for the Olympics for next year, and Schumacher was a big part of it. And Ed Lynch was told, he said, "Well, who's your MVP?" And the guy said, "Skip Schumacher, hands down."
So just gets a piece.
He had over 450 or something like that, or 440.
Well, he's got speed, and he's pretty good defensively. We saw him make the club out of spring. First time he had been on a big league team to start the season. Two balls, two strikes. Oh, my goodness. Off the mask of the home plate umpire, I believe.
Was it off the glove, off the mask?
He may have just flat out missed it. And Julio's throwing 95, 96.
Well, he must have crossed him up. Every time when the lead is on base, something crazy happens. And there you see Tim McClellan, the crew chief, the second base umpire, asking the home plate umpire if he's okay. So let's watch. See here.
Oof. You can see too off the mask. It left a little bit the white of the baseball on the mask too.
He's crossed up. He's looking for a breaking ball and got a fastball.
The smudge mark at the top of the mask. Wow. Lucky you didn't get that square. Three-two pitch. In between innings, they have a promotion here where they fire baseballs out of a little cannon. Gentleman was out in right center field. It's a fan trying to make the catch, missed it completely. And there's Skip Schumacher. Hit off his nose and had to be helped off the field. It's like the Bad News Bears out there.
And the first one almost hit him. The second one, he didn't get near it. And the third one got it.
Square. 3-2 pitch. Show Taguchi down the left field line. It's hooking, and it is foul. Taguchi has got a couple of home runs this season. Looking ahead to the bottom of this inning. It'll be Montero, the catcher, then Chad Tracy and Tony Clark. Called third strike on So Taguchi on the outside corner. Jorge Julio allows the home run to Spezio, his second in the game tonight. Cardinals lead it by 4 runs. 6-9-1 for the Cardinals, 2-7-0 for the Diamondbacks. The D-backs have stranded 8, the Cardinals 6. Second inning aboard for Braden Looper. Now the bullpen for St. Louis. Cardinals bullpen trying to hold on for Jeff Weaver, who went 5 innings tonight. And it's 6-2. Scott Spezio, big part of this lead, playing third base the second consecutive game for Tony La Russa. A couple of home runs tonight. A 2-run shot in the first. That was his 10th. A solo shot the top of this inning, his 11th, and he's got 3 RBIs, 3 of the 6 runs.
Skip Schumacher now playing left field and batting 6th.
Miguel Montero will take over. There's Skip out and left. So Encarnacion is in right, so Taguchi in center, Schumacher in left.
Montero, after Estrada was hit by a pitch midway through this game, took over. Second plate appearance. He's 0 for 1. Two and one the count. Cardinals will ask Looper to be extended 2 innings tonight. We'll see who finish the game off. The Cardinals are in a position to do so.
I don't know if they would do it, but possibility of let me try to finish the game period. 3 innings and have a day or two off. Then you do Wainwright, kind of your back end guy tomorrow. Was kind of signed as a guy that if Izzy wasn't available could be the closer or has closing experience.
Grounder hit to short, handled by Miles. Aaron Miles filling in for David Eckstein. He has been missing since August 19th on the DL after that collision at home plate at Wrigley Field. And Miles was telling me the other day, Al, it's just a chance to show what he can do. He played 3 innings there last year, and he had done it a bunch in the minor leagues, but not much in the major leagues. And he's a utility guy, a chance to show that he can play third or short, second base, a chance to show that versatility.
And Dan, if you can play shortstop, you separate yourself from other utility infielders. And he has played the position very, very well. Held his own offensively, defensively, just made a couple errors, but he's making all the routine plays.
Chad Tracy, 1 ball, 1 strike. New name for the Blues home announced today. Scott Trade Center. Downtown St. Louis. And hockey just around the corner. We'll have the games here on FSN.
Scott Trade Center a lot of luck, but it's amazing how some of the names have fallen on hard times, haven't they?
Some have. Now I'm sure this will be a long relationship. Miles again, 2 down. Good work here by Looper. Pair of ground ball outs to the shortstop, and here's Tony Clark. Pair of strikeouts, and he also doubled.
Looper's only thrown 24 pitches. That could be part of the deciding factor if he has a quick third out right here.
First pitch to Clark, low and in. 6'7", Tony Clark. Started his big league career in '95 with Detroit.
And he is a member, or resides in Glendale, Arizona.
All-star back in '01.
He's had 430 home run seasons.
The 1-1 pitch. Skip Schumacher back in the major leagues, now near the foul line, and he makes the catch. Ninth inning coming up at 6-2. Greg Aquino will take over here top of the ninth in Arizona. It's 6-2 St. Louis. Aquino 2-0 on the year, 42 1/3 innings pitched. They struck out 42. Cardinals lead it 6-2. Redbirds picked up 3 runs in the first, 2 in the 5th, and another in the 8th.
So the numbers for Aquino: 37 games, 2-0 record, 4.46.
Had injury problems a year ago. Surfaced during spring training. He missed nearly 2 weeks in March, and then he had problems with his forearm different parts of the season. If you're still awake back home, you're going to see Albert Pujols hit one more time as Miles takes ball 1. Miles a good night. Tripled and singled, couple runs scored. Pujols is due up third. On deck for the Cardinals, John Nelson.
And Wainwright's going to get a chance to close this game out. It is not a save situation. 4-run lead. There you see Adam. Good work by Looper.
You think they bring him in a situation like this just to get his feet wet out, finish a game off, even though it's not a save situation?
It still, feels good. Be out on the mound, get the final out, get those handshakes. So it's kind of the progression of learning how to handle the save situation. And once again, Izzy not available this entire 4-game series, as his degenerative hip is kind of created some problems now, and maybe the source of why he struggled mechanically yesterday.
Backing up Clark, race to the bag, and out is Miles at first. John Nelson will be the pinch hitter for Duncan.
Close play right here as Clark gets the ball, underhand feed to his pitcher cover, and just does beat Miles, hustling all the way. So this will be John Nelson's major league debut. He led Memphis when home runs and RBIs, but only hit .215 and really didn't have that many RBIs. And 21 home runs and 48 RBIs while batting .215. He's 27 years of age. And a shockingly low total of RBIs to lead the club. It's got a little pop, but Al McRae been working with him offensively. Feels that really struggles and needs to learn a lot of things about hitting in order to help and be a contributor at this level.
A strikeout of Nelson brings in Pujols with 2 outs and nobody on.
Al took him down the cage the other day and tried to show him a couple things, try to help him out. I'm sure Albert will show him a few things too.
Pujols tonight on base twice with a walk, a single, grounded out to third and flied out to left. Two outs, nobody on. The first pitch to Albert.
Breaking ball kind of got Nelson back on his heels, and even Albert kind of flinched on that first one.
Two strikes.
You were talking about Aquino's got the He's had the forearm strain. He's had a lot of problems with the ulnar nerve. The closer for the Reds, Eddie Guardado,
done for the year.
Done for the year. They were talking about his as a forearm strain. Now he'll have the ligament transplant surgery, and he pretty much is out for next year too.
Right. I was wondering if that'd be it for him. He's getting up there in age. You watch him pitch, though. Boy, he pitches with emotion and with flair. And like you always say, look, he'd be one of those guys where they'd have to pull that uniform off him.
He doesn't have, anything outstanding stuff, so to speak, but he's got a big, big heart, and he wants the ball. And that's part of the equation.
Some of those trades just didn't work out. Guardado now with the surgery. Majeski was hurt for a little bit. And the Reds tried to get back in the race, or at least stay in it, with a little bit of a patchwork job done by Wayne Kripke with all the deals that he made.
And then Houston's going to be playing Milwaukee starting series tomorrow.
Two pitch to Albert Pujols, on its way. And Albert has worked the count full. Here we are in September. Cardinals with a 6-2 lead. This game is not very intense, and Pujols never gives away an at bat.
Nope. Albert is just absolutely driven, and he only has one hit today. About to get his second.
The 3-2 pitch, and Pujols rips it out to left.
That's in the books, his second. So 2 for 4 day, 2 singles and a walk. And ball hit sharply right by Stephen Drew. Throw him a strike, and look out. Juan's 2 for 4 with an RBI.
Two outs, runner at first, Encarnacion. Picked up a 2-out RBI base hit, and that was back in the 5th. Cardinals with 4 of their 6 runs with 2 outs. Spezio on deck. See if Juan can't give him a crack at a 3-home-run night. Oh, 2 pitch.
Brad Thompson now throwing in the bullpen. That might have been a guy that would be a good alternative to come in with a 4-run lead.
Two and two. Guys in the truck have been intrigued with the job that Kino has done this year and what he's done so far tonight. Two and two the count on Encarnacion. And a strikeout of Juan sends us to the bottom of the 9th. The Cardinals lead at 6-2.
Cardinals with a lead of 6-2, and we turn to the butt play of the game, a defensive play from Albert Pujols.
Right over the line, Johnny Estrada hits his ball underneath the seat. From his seat, he fires to Weaver covering and gets some runner at first base.
Your butt play of the game. This is Stephen Drew to start the bottom of the ninth. The Cardinals lead it 6-2. Adam Wainwright is into the ball game. I assume, Al, it's just a way to get him acclimated to the ninth inning and finishing off a game despite the fact it's a non-save situation.
I think it's ideally, you know, even though you'd like to see him in a save situation, you just want to win and make a comfortable cushion for him.
One thing about both Looper and Wainwright, you know, they both don't have great numbers against left-handed batters. And that's why we were saying before, you might want to save one of those lefties for a situation in a tight ball game late.
Well, they have a lefty available if it is a tight situation.
And Pujols would take it himself, and that's out number one. We'll see a pinch hitter. This will be Craig Counsell. Hits from the left side.
Obviously a favorite here at Counsell, as you see the numbers for Wainwright. Struggling right now, 0 for his last 16.
This is one of the guys that you talk about, would he wear down in September? Adam Wainwright doesn't pitch this late into the season.
But the way he was used, I don't think he will.
One and two. Anthony Reyes going tomorrow night. We'll have that game on FSN. Cardinals bullpen trying to hold on for Jeff Weaver. Went 5 innings. And he's in line for the victory. 2-2 the count. It would be Weaver's 3rd win.
And pitching better and better.
Counsell, a couple years in Milwaukee, now back with Arizona. Count runs full. It's 3-2.
647th game with the D-backs. That's 3rd best in franchise history. Greg missed 36 games with a right rib fracture.
Popped up left side. Spezio for out number 2. Hope you stay with us tonight. The Busch Light Midwest Sports Report is coming up. Have our star of the game and a recap here from Arizona. 2 outs here in the ninth, and Chris Young will be the batter. Arizona on the verge of dropping their 14th in the last 17 games.
And the Cardinals need to pick up the pace and win more games on the road.
3rd ball of beauty, and that's strike 2. Cardinals a strike away.
Even though this road trip at 2-2, with 3 more to play. 0-2 with a wasted pitch. Go right with the curveball. Just keep it down.
0-2 pitch. Curveball of beauty and a called third strike as Wainwright finishes the game off. Our final is 6-2. Jeff Weaver picks up victory number 3 and the Cardinals pick up win number 75. Our final score 6-2. We'll wrap it up in a moment. Weaver the win. He's 3-4. Batista takes a loss. He's 10-6. 2 hours and 50 minutes. Time of game 6-10-1 for the Cardinals. 2-7-0 for Arizona. Good outing by Weaver. Only 5 innings, but he gets the win.
Yeah, he wanted to stay in there. He pitched very effectively. Got enough offense, and we win the first one without Isringhausen.
Offense supplied by Spezio. He's coming up in the star of the game. Cardinal Baseball is produced by Bud Productions, an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. Next Cardinals broadcast tomorrow night in high definition at 8 o'clock. Final score tonight, the Cardinals 6, Arizona 2. Stay tuned. It's the Midwest Sports Report coming up.